The date is December 4th, 2017. The location is the Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. The time is 10:30 a.m. And today, the person being interviewed is Marian Jewel Youngs. Marian was born on May 18th, 1925. Marian worked at the Ford B-24 Bomber plant at Willow Run, Michigan during World War II. This interview will be conducted by Claire Kitchen-Dahl. The interview will be videotaped by Jerry Jessen, and our observer is Judy Slater. This interview is being conducted on behalf of the Oral History Project at the Yankee Air Museum in Belleville, Michigan. Marian, thank you for coming to the Yankee Air Museum today to share your memories of the World War II home front with us. The recounting of your experiences while working at historic Willow Run Bomber plant are important for our national records. We thank you for your service to our country during the war. Please state your full name, including your middle name.
Marian Jewel Youngs.
When and where were you born?
Near Plymouth, Michigan, on a farm.
On a farm. And the date?
May 18th, 1925.
And who were your parents? What were their names?
Harold and Loretta Jewel.
And what about their occupations? Tell us a little about them.
Well, Mom had been and was a teacher at Gear School, right in that neighborhood, and Dad was a farmer.
Did you have farm duties while you grew up?
Oh, many, yes.
All right, did you have any siblings?
Yes, I had my sister Marjorie, my brother Daniel, and my little brother Ralph.
Okay, and what can you tell me about Marjorie? You said that she still lives in Michigan, you told me at one point.
Oh, yes. Well, what can I tell you about her? She was a pill when she was little. She was cute as a button and full of life, and she still is. She, in high school, I don't know if you want to hear about that, but in high school, she was voted the most beautiful girl one year, and one year the most popular girl. She became a teacher, and she married a man who became superintendent of schools.
Interesting.
And then Dan, I suppose you want to hear about him, my brother. He joined the Navy when he was first able to, age-wise. And he was in the Korean War. He ended up with shrapnel that he kept to his dying day. Some of it he was still coming out of his skin.
Neither one of them worked at Willow Run.
Oh no, they were too young.
Okay. Now, in what city did you grow up?
Back to when my brother, I still had brother Ralph, who died as an infant. And what was the next question?
In what city did you grow up?
Well, I grew up on a farm near Saline, Michigan. And then by the time I was high school age, my parents moved to Coldwater area, where they bought another farm, having lost the first one due to the Depression.
Well, now tell us about your education.
Well, I'm still being educated, I think. But, you know, regular education, schooling, had started, and I started actually at home. My grandmother lived with us, and she taught me the first 2 years at home, having been a teacher for 36 years. Then I went to country school, both Judd and Oak Grove School, and then on to high school in Coldwater. And then a lot of my schooling was at Willow Run. I learned much there.
And then later on in your life, you took adult ed classes.
Well, yes, I did. everything they had offered to do with antiques when I decided to be an antiques dealer.
How did you and your family get news and current events during the 40s?
Mainly through the radio.
Okay. And would you consider your family was a Democratic or a Republican family?
Oh, always Republican.
Did you hear much about the war in Europe, which started in 1939?
Not that I remember. It was way over there, you know, wherever over there was.
What do you remember about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Well, I was doing homework and the radio was on. And I heard them with a sudden announcement about bombing of Pearl Harbor. Well, okay, where was Pearl Harbor? I mean, what did that have to do with me, with us? It didn't really affect me. But when I told my parents, who were outside or doing something, they were alarmed about it.
How do you think all of that affected your family and the war that followed?
Well, the younger ones, I don't know if it affected them too very much. I don't think we ever discussed that. But I'm sure it did my parents. They seemed to know it was the beginning of something.
Now, when did you graduate from high school?
In June of 1942.
And do you remember many classmates going into the military? Because by then we were at war.
Some of them no doubt did, but as far as a lot of them going in, I don't remember it.
What did you do after you graduated from high school?
Well, I moved to Ypsilanti, where my husband went to work at the bomber plant.
And did he seem to enjoy working here?
I think so.
Do you know what area he worked in?
I have no idea.
Okay. How did you hear about jobs at Willow Run?
Well, I suppose when we went to Ypsi and lived in a trailer park, and most of those people were working at the bomber plant, in the, you know, the ones in the bomber plant, in the trailer park, I should say, worked there.
So how old were you when you decided to work at Willow Run?
17.
And why did you decide to go apply there? Why did you decide that this would be the job for you?
Well, I wanted to be part of the war effort, for one thing, number one, probably. I needed the job, and it was just the thing to do. I mean, I don't remember actually making a choice. It just, I assumed I would. The pay was good there, in addition to being, you know, something that was available and patriotic thing to do.
Did you have any experience in working at industry?
In industry? No.
You had been a farm girl, so you had been a farm worker.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What did your parents think of you working at Willow Run?
You know, I have no idea. None.
Did you ever talk about it with them?
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Mm-hmm. Did you go with a friend?
No, I went by myself. Much later, I had a friend from high school come and we roomed together. And then she worked in a store first. Apparently they weren't hiring when she came, or possibly she didn't apply, I don't remember. But she worked there later.
Now, as a side note, you divorced your husband after a very short marriage, and it took a great deal of courage for a young woman to take that step in the 1940s to remove yourself from a wrong turn in life. So after that, where did you live while you worked at Willow Run?
I went looking for a room to rent, and I don't remember how I found it. But I found a room with Mrs. Clausen, and she had this great big home, which I later found out had been an underground railroad place during, before the Civil War or after. But she had many rooms there to rent, and I just loved that old lady. And everywhere she moved during the war, I moved with her, and she moved 3 times.
Now, how did you get to Willow Run from Mrs. Clausen's?
Well, I either could walk uptown and catch the cattle car. That's what we called that bus they had converted. Or I could, well, after I was up there, that was the way to go. Prior to that, when I was in the trailer camp, I walked, and there was a path that they had paved, not paved, but asphalted, all the way over from US 12, that corner, through the fields over to the bomber plant. It was sort of a direct route east of Ypsilanti. And at night, when I was on an afternoon shift, I still remember being so darn scared of that trip back home that I'd whistle all the way through, because there were no lights. It was not a lighted path at all. And there were some trailers sort of hodgepodge through that field. And so I whistled all the way, so they'd think I was a man, not a woman, walking through there in the dark by myself.
Well, what do you remember about the cattle car?
Well, it's just like a rattle trap. That's after I went into town.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what.
Did you have seats, or did you stand?
Yes, there were seats.
There were seats.
Yeah, it just made a lot of noise, and it was very rough riding. That's why we called it that.
Now, what was your job at Willow Run?
First thing I did was work drilling holes in nose wheel doors and also in bomb bay doors. But then later, they were shipped out to a different place.
And then after you did that, do you remember what department or what?
Yeah, it was all in 930.
930.
Mm-hmm.
That was the press shop?
Pardon?
Press? A press shop?
Press shop, yes. Mm-hmm. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, never can stand this. It was so noisy. It was, having been on the farm, and it's quieter and it's more laid back, and this was so intensely noisy. Those presses coming down, bang. Farm girl, it was appalling. But I thought, well, I can do it.
Now, did you have any special training in the press room?
Oh, heavens, no. No, you sat on a stool and you put the stuff in there, and you reached forward with your foot and made the press come down, and then you pulled the part out and put it wherever it was to go, in the basket, or I don't remember exactly.
Did you pull it out with your fingers? With pliers?
Pliers, yeah.
Were these big hot? Were they hot or cold,
No.
or just pieces of
No.
steel?
They were
Now,
cold.
was it difficult?
No, there was nothing difficult. The only difficulty was to get your timing right so you got your pliers back out when that press came down. Make sure that it didn't grab your fingers. I had one friend who lost part of her hand, and I never saw her again.
Did you ever feel that it went too quickly? Were you self-paced, or it was doable, what you were trying to do?
Oh, it was self-paced. Mm-hmm. And I had good eye-hand coordination and foot. You know, I could do it.
And you stood or sat?
Well, mostly sat on the edge of a stool.
Okay. Now, what shift did you work?
We worked alternately, day shift and afternoon shift.
That's right. You walked home in the dark, so we know some of those afternoons.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, how about lunch or breakfast breaks?
Well, this is funny to me now, but they had these grills, and they grilled bologna, so you could have hot bologna sandwiches. That was the choice in the morning. Well, it beat not eating, I guess. Mm-hmm.
And then did you bring your own lunch, or did you eat in a cafeteria?
Occasionally, the bosses would take you up and treat you to lunch in the cafeteria. And other than that, you ate a sandwich that you brought from home.
Now, what did you wear while you worked at Willow Run?
They furnished our uniforms, and they were very nice, good quality, blue, always blue, uniforms.
Like a one-piece?
No, two-piece.
A two-piece. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you have to cover your hair?
I didn't. None of us did unless we worked with like a drill or by a drill press where your hair could get caught in the machinery.
And how about, were you wearing special badges or identification or
Yes.
anything?
We had badges with the department we worked in on them. Therefore, you couldn't stray outside of a certain area, or they would know, somebody would know.
You don't remember having to pay for these uniforms?
I don't think we did. I think they were furnished.
How about, did you have to launder them yourself?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So you had washing facilities at Mrs. Clausen's?
Nope, other than the kitchen sink. And other than that, I would pack my things up in a suitcase and by Greyhound bus, take it or send it to Coldwater. And then Mom would do the things up, put the suitcase full of clean clothes back on the bus, and send them to me. Wasn't that nice?
Wasn't that nice of Mom? Now, did you stay in the same rooming house the whole time you worked at Willow Run? And did you have a roommate?
Yes. Well, it wasn't always the same house because she moved 3 times. But I had a roommate for most of the time until Dorothy quit and went home. She and I were classmates in Coldwater, and we just had a lot of fun together. And after work, sometimes we'd go uptown and eat. Occasionally, we enjoyed a meal in a restaurant, but there wasn't a lot of money for, eating out. So it was generally sandwiches that I remember.
Did her family or her parents help you out during those days while you lived at Mrs. Clausen's?
Yes. They owned a turkey farm near Quincy, Michigan, and they canned turkey. And so we had canned turkey from time to time. And what a treat that was.
Did you share it with other people in the house?
Oh, no. The cans weren't that large.
Now, what can you tell us about the houses that you lived in with Mrs. Clausen? Where they were, what it was like, what they looked like?
Well, the first one was a large house on River Street. And it had, I already told you though, that it had been an part of the Underground Railway. We found out later. But there were apartments on either side of the ground floor. Then her living area was downstairs. Then upstairs were numerous rooms. And Dorothy and I shared a room. Then she moved to Prospect Street. And I moved up there with her. I think by then Dorothy had gone back to Coldwater or Quincy. And what about that?
Was it larger than the first house or
Oh, no.
smaller?
No, the next house she moved into was just a single-family home. And I had a room upstairs. And once in a while, she would have a dinner for her 2 roomers. Mrs. Clausen did. But she was so full of good common sense. She never interfered with our lives, her roomers' lives, that I know of. But she was there for motherly advice if you needed it, and motherly caring.
So you felt very fortunate living with her.
Oh, I certainly did. I was very fortunate.
Did you hear about the other workers and their living conditions while they were at Willow Run?
Well, some I did, and some I could see with my own eyes when I'd go by Willow Village. That didn't look very appetizing at all. I heard that they heated with a coal stove in their apartments, or their apartments, I guess you would call them. They were like one long shed, some of them were, and then just divided off. I thought they were awful. But they did provide a roof over their heads.
Now, were there many men working at Willow Run while you were there?
Most of the men that I knew anything about were either in a foreman position or they were in setup. I think some were head of inspection department, and there were some in supervisory positions that I didn't, of course, know what their job was.
And how about African American women? Do you remember any of those at Willow Run?
The only 2 that I remember worked in the nose wheel division that was in assembly when I first got there. And they only lasted a short while. They were really to themselves mostly and didn't make friendships. And then suddenly they weren't there. And when I asked what happened to them, they said that, someone said, that they had been suspected of sabotage. And I found that very hard to believe. I really wondered at that. But I never saw them again. Neither did I see another black person there. Not that there weren't some, but I didn't see them.
Well, how about your pay? Did you feel that it was fair? And what did you do with your money?
Well, it was more than the average pay in the area, somewhat. And also, Mr. Ford enjoyed paying with $2 bills in the other cash that we got. And we were paid in cash. And what did I do with my money? A lot of it went for rent, room rent, for food, for clothing, and I did save some. Not a lot, but I saved some. And back to Mr. Ford, we did see him one time when he was with his entourage going up the aisle. And so that was supposed to be something special, and I guess it was.
I'm sure it was something special. Not many people got to see Henry Ford during the war, certainly not at the bomber plant.
Right.
Now, what about this little plastic heart that you brought with us today? Can you tell us anything about that?
This little heart. Well, the men, I don't know where they worked, but they must have had access to this plexiglass, which were used for the windows in the plane. I understand. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But anyway, and where they got the little airplanes to put in them, or on them, I don't know. But they made them in their spare time. And those of us who were lucky were given one.
That's fabulous. Did you wear it as a necklace?
I never wore it, I just
Okay.
had it.
But it has a clasp on it, so
Yes,
you
it
could
does.
if you wanted.
Yep.
Did you have a social life during this time?
Oh, very much so, yeah. We went to dances at the bars, because that was the only place available to go to dances. I think that sort of thing during wartime was mainly ended. You know, the UFSO probably had them, but they weren't any near us. And so we danced a lot. We also bowled and, goodness, went to Boblo once. One of my foremen took me to see Sonia Henney in Detroit. That was pretty nice.
So there was some social interaction between employers and supervision and between men and women at Willow Run.
There most definitely was a lot.
Now, what about your trip to Canada?
Well, one time I got it in my head that I wasn't doing enough to help win the war, and that I would like to fly a plane. I didn't even know how to drive a car, but I thought I needed to do more. So I found out that in America, or United States, I couldn't fly a plane because I wasn't old enough. So I thought, well, I'll see about Canada. So I just hopped a bus and went to Canada. And I don't know what office I went to there, and they told me it was the same thing there. You had to be 21. I was really disheartened. But I only missed one day at work, so that was good.
Did you have to ask for time off, or did you just not show up that day?
Oh, I just didn't show up.
You just didn't show up.
That wasn't a long-held idea. It was just one that, you know, in several weeks' time, maybe I'd thought about it.
Did you ever pursue your dream of being a pilot after the war?
No, I didn't. I didn't have wheels to get me out to the airport to learn how to fly.
I think you would have been a good pilot.
I might have loved it.
I think you would have.
I don't know.
Now, when did you stop working at Willow Run?
When the war was over and they let us go.
Did they let you go in like department by department by department, or?
I think mostly that was, I don't really know or remember. Probably was.
And were you kind of given, let's say, warning that you will have your job only for another 2 weeks, or
Oh, I don't think so.
it was just all of a sudden you're done?
That's the way I remember it, all of a sudden being done.
Okay, so then what did you do next once you stopped working at Willow Run?
My foreman at that time, the day after we were let go, took me to another factory there in town, Central Specialty, and I went to work there the next day as a timekeeper.
And how long did you work there?
Well, in 1947, I think I ended.
Okay, so just
there.
a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were a timekeeper for them, did you have timekeepers at Willow Run? Did you have to punch in and punch out at the beginning and end of your shifts? Do you remember anything like that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do you remember the factory being cold? You said it was noisy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember it being cold or
No,
hot?
No.
Was it clean?
Yes.
And it felt very organized.
Yes.
Okay, now what do your kids think about stories that you've told them of your years of working at Willow Run?
Oh, I never talked about it much until, a few years ago, and then they have had their turns going out to, out to the Yankee Air Force Museum, and one time I got to go up in a plane.
What kind of a plane did you go up in?
B-24.
As a passenger in a B-24?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we went over Canada. It was quite thrilling.
Now, what about this hands sculpture by Billy Patrick that you were talking about one time to me?
Mm-hmm. Well, I just was approached by him about having my hand cast in plaster. And I thought, well, I guess so, why not?
And what was this about? What was his image, or what was he trying to sculpt?
Oh, there were 4 of us who had hands holding up the plane. And it was to be the entrance to the Yankee Air Force Museum. This was a project he would like to have had happen. It would have then been cast in bronze, but there was no money for it at that time.
So you've had a few good experiences out here in terms of after you worked, you were approached for this sculpture, and then one time you mentioned to me that when they introduced the Rosie the Riveter stamp, you were brought back out.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that event?
Well, there was quite a group of us that they had been able to contact, and we posed for a picture, and I think that was about it, really.
But that's
a little ceremony.
It's a real honor to be out here for the unveiling of the stamp. Now, after your children grew up, what kind of work did you do?
I started my own business, antique shop, which I totally loved.
What was the name of your shop?
Attic Treasures Antiques.
Did you specialize in any one kind of antique, or just?
I liked primitives the best, but whatever I came across that was old and saleable, I bought and sold.
Now, how do you think, if we look at the bigger picture, how do you think World War II affected your life?
Oh my goodness. I suppose it affected me in every way. It helped me grow up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You mentioned before it gave you confidence.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I knew I could work hard and steadily and pay my own way.
Earned your own money.
Mm-hmm. And be independent.
Do you feel that your working at Willow Run opened doors for other women in other jobs?
Well, I certainly didn't at that time, but I understand now that it probably did. Not probably, very likely did.
How about your memories of Willow Run? When you look at those years, you started in 1942 and you ended in 45. Are the memories you have of Willow Run good or bad ones?
Oh, they're good, yes. There were some bad things, but generally speaking, they were good. I don't know, I was young, and when you're young like that, nothing much phases you. You just do what you need to do.
Well, Marian, we are so appreciative of your taking the time today to share your experiences of working in the defense industries during World War II. Primary documentation is vital to any understanding of the history of World War II. With your stories and your firsthand knowledge of the home front during the 1940s, our national narrative will be more complete, honest, colorful, and accurate. Thank you for giving your strength and patriotic energy to America and doing your part to help win the war. Whether you know it or not, you are a heroine to many, many people, and we thank you.